Hey guys, it's Maria.
And Charlie.
Thank you for joining us for this week's recap.
This week, one of the things we wanted to talk about is ERs, ER flow, playing ERs, playing gambling on them, playing lottos, stuff like that. Maria, you made a great graphic that had three rules on it the other day. If you'd like to start with that, kind of go over it and read that to us real quick, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
So, rule number one, don't fight the trend. So, oftentimes when a stock is up too much, the first thing that traders want to do is short it. They want to buy puts. And that's probably one of the most common mistakes that we see being made. You don't ever fight the trend.
Not,
Just because it's up doesn't mean that it can't continue higher.
and not just stocks. They'll do the same thing with the market. Oh my God, SPY's up too much. Oh my God, IWM's too much. It can't keep on. It can't.
It most definitely can. The next thing is short-term out of the money plays. What people often think is that because it's cheaper, they can buy more contracts. What we constantly tell our traders is that it's always quality over quantity. Just because it's cheaper does not make it a better play. So what we usually recommend is buying at the money with a little bit more time. That gives your trade more time to work as well. And then the last rule that we have, or number one of our top three rules, is about ER YOLOs. This is a complete coin flip. We have seen time and time again where a stock will come out, they will beat and raise guidance and the stock will tank. There's no guarantee that even with a good ER that the stock will move up, and there's no guarantee that even with a bad ER that the stock is going to move down. If a stock wants to move, it's still going to move after the ER. So no ER YOLOs.
We get hit every single day. What do you think Amazon's going to do it on ER? It doesn't matter what I think. That's the problem. It doesn't matter. And why are you asking me, right? What is Google going to do on ER? We have no idea. The street has no idea. Everybody's guessing. You'll see a lot of what's called lotto flow, lotto flow, lottery, meaning it's just gambling. I'm probably guilty of even saying that word, but we say every single day. We don't play it. Now, you might play the run up, and we're very guilty of playing the run up. I love to play the run up. I have no problem in that part, but we're going to sell before every ER. One of the things that we try to tell people is let's just look at, we'll go over a few ERs this week. You can get lucky. Sure, if you held Snap through ER, you kicked ass. If you held Facebook through ER, you lost your ass, right? So there you go. Kind of two companies that's dependent on monthly active users, daily active users, kind of in the same space you would call Twitter, Snap, Facebook, sort of in the same space. One wins, one loses. Actually, Twitter won too. Facebook, the other way. So these are things, you might have held both and you got a 50-50. And you look like a genius on one, you look like a dumbass on one. So it's just better not to play it. And let's go over a few things of how we like to play these, actually. One of the things we like to do, and let's just go ahead and look at the ER lottos, Maria, from Facebook. It was the 227.50s. I think several people actually played these in the room, caught 25-30% on them. Facebook started going down the very next day. I think those were Monday. Good example of an ER lotto. Something you can play for a little bit of money, something you don't want to hold through, even though they're cheap. Yeah, a lot of flow. Yeah, so a lot of flow there. And every one of those, if they didn't get out, was a loser. Playing the 227.50s. This even got pumped on CNBC halftime. But even they know this is a gamble, right? So I know that we had several people play this, get out of this. Now, Facebook, if you ever notice, this is one of those situations where Facebook goes down 95% of the time after they release. It's almost like you're supposed to automatically short Facebook for at least a month after ER. That's typically kind of what happens. It's like, let them release, go short. A month before ER, go long. That's one of the things that we've done for a long time. Now, Snap, if you held through, again, you look like a genius. Let's go pull up Snap for a minute, Maria. This is one we played after ER. We played Snap probably every week for 6 weeks leading up to the ER. I mean, we played it. Here's after the ER. We had several 100% plays called out after the fact. Didn't have to hold through. This is one of those things. And listen, by no means are we perfect traders. Nobody's trying to say that. Like if you listen to last week, you can hear where I gave several mistakes that I made that week. So this is one we had several, I don't want to say several. We had at least two or three 100%ers. Maria, you called these out this week after the fact. No risk. We already seen the ER. Actually, Maria, let's go over that ER for just a second. How much they beat by and got. When we're looking for clean ERs, everybody has a lot of ERs aren't playable. This is one you get the numbers. Maria was going over the numbers. It's an auto play. It's a just press buy. So I'm gonna let her go over those.
The reporting quarter, they came in, EPS was -6 cents. The consensus was -10 cents. They reported Q2 revenue 388.02 million on a consensus of 359.56 million. So a nice beat and beat for them.
So let's stop right there
Sorry,
for
go
a
ahead.
second. 388 over 359. So the revenues not quite 10%, but almost 10% above street consensus. Now I'm gonna let you go ahead to the next one there, Maria. The guidance.
Sure. For guidance, they see Q3 revenue 410 to 435 million on a consensus of 402.19 million. They also reported an increase in their daily active users, 8% year over year to 203 million, which is good. That's definitely a metric that's closely watched for Snap's ER.
This is one that, we talked about, went over the stats, not only the current quarter. We like to check all four boxes. Does it on the reporting quarter? Did they beat? Did they beat on revs? Did they beat on EPS? Check, right? How did they report? Did they report? Are they reporting higher EPS? Are they reporting higher revs? Check. Just checked all four boxes. Now you can check all four boxes and not move. How much did they beat by? Yada yada. This all goes into consideration. But this is one of those situations. Yes, if you fell through Snap, you rocked and rolled. But it's one of those situations. If it went the other way, you'd wish you hadn't. There was plenty of movement, plenty of 100% action every single day after the report with no risk, right? With no risk. Maria, let's look at Teradyne. This is one of your favorites earlier in the week as well. This isn't about being able to play after an ER without running the risk, right?
Yep. So if you look and see, they closed in the $48 range. On Tuesday, they reported huge spike after hours. You see that it kind of retraced just a little bit and took off for the rest of the day. Nice move for that day. Kind of pulled back a little bit, but look at this area of support that it held. If you draw a line through there, you can see that this area right through this 55.75, 55.80 area held really, really strongly. Little pop up and still closing the week above that area of support.
It's what we call a dip and rip. It dipped a little bit that morning and just ripped all day. Easy play after the fact with no stress. One more, Maria, Team. I know this is one that you were looking at.
This is a great stock. They reported, if I remember correctly, the numbers were good. We saw this dip, it kind of bounced back up, but it looked like maybe it's not going to move too much. The next day, you'll see Friday, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous move. Opened around 135, 136, somewhere in that area, and hit a high of 149.80 and still holding both the 34 EMA and VWAP into the close.
Say this one more time. Where did it open and what was the high?
So we opened somewhere around 136-ish, 137, 136 area and hit a high of 149.80.
So think about that. A 10% move, again, after the fact, after the ER, after you have the information. A 10% move on the stock is like 7 trillion% on the options, right? Okay, I'm joking about the 7 trillion%. But again, no risk. You're playing after the fact. Whether it's long or short, you can play these after the fact without having to ask somebody, what do you think? Should I hold Amazon through? Guess who got burned on Amazon? Shorts and longs, both ways, right? Now, Google, it kicked ass. If you had Google, you did well. If you had Amazon, you didn't. Again, it's a 50-50 situation. Nobody can guess these ERs. I can't guess them. And if I could, even like you say, Maria, you could have a clean beat and not go up enough to take care of, what you did on the option, between IV Crush and everything else. Another one we played yesterday. Let's talk about this one. Starbucks after the fact. And a lot of the room got in this one yesterday. Starbucks, it's over 90. It was crossing 95. There's that rule about once you get over that high, you're going to hit $100. That rule probably happens about 95% of the time. It's accurate. Good ER, solid. Everything's running fine with Starbucks. We talked about, all right, everybody, let's buy the October 100s. Those October 100s, this was like in the first 20 minutes of the market, ended up plus 71% yesterday. Again, after the fact. Now, you could have played short-term ones and did over 100%, and some people did. But longer term, just looking at it going, okay, great report and everything. Let's buy October's, I guess, close to the next report, $100 calls. They're up 71%. No risk holding through the ER. Just one of those things we just want to stress to people. Again, ride the trend. The trend is your friend. None of this, oh my God, it's so high, it's got to come down. I've seen more people blow up accounts doing that. Just doesn't work. YOLOing through ERs and too many short-term expirations. These are things that if you will avoid those three things that Maria showed you in the beginning, avoid those three things, you will up your odds of being a successful options trader greatly. Now, there's many other things you can do wrong, puppy trading and a million other things. Avoid those three things. Those are the three pitfalls I see people do the most when they first start, or even they've been doing it for a long time and they just, haven't blew up enough accounts to figure it out yet. So these are just examples of not holding through an ER and having plenty of action after the ER to get a good trade. Maria, a little flow last week. We took a little time already going over this, but I did want us to go over LK and Disney. I'm going to let you do LK and then I'll do Disney.
So LK, let me show you the chart, the weekly chart, number one. Kind of nice little uptrend there, right? But let me go back. We'll just do a year since they recently IPO'd. There's the IPO price. You saw it hit a low of 1371 and is now approaching that 25 area, close at 2492. So really nice, kind of little cup type of thing that's formed through here. The flow, if we go back, they were buying calls on the 22nd, some weekly, some out a little bit further. Then they came in on the 23rd, bought some more on the 25th, and they bought some more on the 26th. Now, the other thing I want you guys to look at, for the August expiration, they started off buying 22 and a half. They jumped up to 23 and a half. Going a little bit further out, they jumped into September with $35 calls, still buying more than 22 and a half. They bought 25s, 35s, 30s. So they're definitely hitting multiple strikes, multiple expirations. It is a recent IPO, which we know that those have kind of been kicking ass lately. So this is one that I definitely want to keep an eye on.
Some of that will be ER flow. Again, if you play something like that, I would recommend that you sell it a couple days before, maybe the day before. But some of that is catching ER and probably some excitement going into it. And we could probably unfilter that a little bit more to show blocks and stuff, and you see a lot of flow into LK. Yeah, let's take that off real quick. All of a sudden, boom, you're seeing a lot more flow into LK. Tons of flow there. But again, some of this is going to catch ER, but it is, like Maria said, chart-wise and everything going into it, I kind of like this.
There's just enough time ahead of the ER that if you wanted a short-term type of play, you might be able to catch just a little bit of movement there.
Let's go ahead and look at Disney. The Disney, they hit this one twice this week. We played it twice. We had a good trade Thursday and Friday. Let's look at the 150s yesterday. Now, these are for August 9th. These do catch ER. We played these. These went up, I think, about 25% yesterday, and most people got out. I'm actually swinging a little bit of it. Now, I'll play the ramp up to ER, which it's already doing, but I will sell before ER. Doesn't matter whether I think they're going to beat or not beat. Doesn't matter. What matters is how much money can I protect and then play after the fact. This is the 150s. Then Thursday, Maria, they were playing the 145s for next week, I believe. These didn't catch ER, so these were very interesting to us too. Some people were still playing these. This doesn't catch ER, so somebody's still expecting something in Disney. This was some decent moves in Disney a lot this week, so that's something I want to keep an eye on going into next week. Again, I am holding a little bit of that as well. One of the things that we've talked about last week, a reminder of, I think 3 times this week, or maybe it was twice, we played QQQ after hours. You got 15 minutes. Both times were successful. I think both those times got posted on private Twitter. I know at least one of them got posted on private Twitter. We are going to try to get more and more every week of the plays onto private Twitter that we're doing. But you do have 15 minutes to play after you get, we had Starbucks and Google out the other day. Amazon had missed. It was down a couple percent. You had Google and Starbucks, Intel all kicking ass. We went long on the Qs. About 5 or 6 minutes after the market closed, after we got a little bit comfy that, all right, everybody's got the direction here. Usually we might wait till even 10 after. But that was a great trade. As you can see, QQQ hit all-time highs yesterday. So things like that, don't forget that you can do. Dark pool. We have recently added dark pool on the black box. Actually, it's been on about 2 or 3 months, but we just haven't been pushing how to use it or whatever. We've got the Duchess of Dark Pool, Mel Stone, with us now. Another Texas girl, Maria and Mel, both from Texas. I like this. Both from Dallas. This is even better. She's been kicking ass. So if you're a dark pool trader, come check us out. Get a trial. Hit Maria up. Maria, you can tell them how to do that. So anybody that's interested in dark pool, she has been really pulling out serious plays. I mean, she probably had 700 or 800 percenters herself this week. Actually, the lady mods, or several of the lady mods, I know you, Jenny, Maria, it was Maria, Jenny, and Mel had 100 percenters in the same day, which was awesome last week. So, hey, they're not all winning trades. Yeah, they're not all winning trades. Trust me. In last week's video, I had to kind of motherfuck myself for a couple bad ones that I did. If I would have held those, both of us kicked major ass this week. But you got to respect your stops, and I can't look at it and go, well, opium, and I couldn't have predicted how well they were done this week. No way to predict that. I still stand by the fact that I cut them for losses. Really, that's all I've got. We really wanted to talk to people about holding through ERs and a couple other
Absolutely.
things. You got anything else?
Nope, that's all I have too, guys. Thanks for joining us. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want a trial, you can hit us up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, StockTwit, and ask for a trial. Also, if you want, you can also just reply in the comments and ask for a trial, and we will get you set up. We hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.